Okay, so the first brew. I added insulation, this kind of insulation, this reflective stuff, to the inside of the brew pot holder. There's the pot. This thing is the holder, and you can see the insulation goes all the way around the inside of the pot holder. So this thing is ready for 5 gallons of water. I'm going to try and get the water to about 72. So we'll see how that goes and put in 5 gallons. Okay, well, I think it's recording. Anyway, that's, you can't read the dial, but it's clearly under 70 degrees. So 5 gallons of water, 70 degrees or thereabout. Okay, so there's 5 gallons in the pot. The 5 gallons comes to, interestingly enough, it just barely starts to cover the handle of the fryer basket. The reason the fryer basket's in there is because I'm going to have sacks of grain. To make it easy to lift out the sacks of grain, the fryer basket will come in handy. You can tell the water level is lower than the level of corrosion up here, the oxidation, is because we did a test with 6 gallons, so there's 1 gallon left. But if you throw the basket in there, 5 gallons is about right at the top of the basket, so it's an easy way to measure. Alright, so the timer is strictly a timer. It doesn't control anything, actually, so we're just going to set this for max it out and see how long it takes. So you heat up a lot faster with the lid on it. Don't forget that. Now we need to check our recipe ingredients, get the grains cracked and put in bags so that we can get those in the boil. Our first temperature is going to be 170 for this recipe, so we'll try and get up to that, and I'll get my thermostat out and make sure or get my, I guess we could just hit 170 here. I might slow it down. We'll just max it and then back it off when the temperature's getting close. Thermometer. Oh, alright. So our target temperature here is 153. So we're going to bring this thing up to 170 eventually. It's about 130 now, so it's gradually making its way north. And once we're at 170, we'll dough in and see how close we get to our mashing temperature of 153. In 4 gallons, it seems like we're going to go down a lot, so I may go 175. All right, we're making progress. We're in about an hour. Let's see, about an hour. Actually, more like 45 minutes, and we're already up to 150 and climbing pretty fast. So it's heating pretty well at 4 gallons, the lid on, and a little extra insulation. So take a look at the grain bill. This is a wit, so it's got light malt, barley malt, and light wheat malt. 4 pounds each of those, and then a pound of oat flakes. And I'm also adding, I haven't done this before, but I'm adding a half a pound of, which will make it somewhere around 7% of the grain bill, of carapils, just to give it some mouthfeel and a little head retention. I'm a fiend for that stuff. I know it's maybe not too true to the style, but I think I'll enjoy it more that way. So that's the grain bill. So we're talking about 9.5 pounds in a 4-gallon mash. So we'll see how that works out. I wanted to have a nice significant sparge, so we're going to have at least 4 gallons of sparge. So for a total of 8, we'll lose at least 2 gallons and then boil off. So hope that works out there. All right, here we have the crush. Corona grain mill. We're running it with a drill, and there's the grains. They need to get crushed, and so I need to back this up a little because we just crushed the wheat, and the wheat kernels are a lot smaller than the barley, so I had to close the gap up for that, and now I'm going to open it up and we'll do the rest of the barley. Exciting stuff. definitely have to have these bags. It's very handy. And also we're putting the grains in these funny looking sacks so that we don't lose most of the grain out into the water. I'm afraid it's all going to burn onto the heating elements, so we use a couple of those bags. Okay, this thing's just been sitting sort of maintaining temperature for 20 minutes, 25 minutes while I went and ground the grains in another room. I always want to grind in another room. It looks like it varies somewhere around 10 degrees. You know, there's a dwell on that thermostat over there, so yeah, I'd say it's 10 degrees, so something to be careful for. Maybe shoot over your target temperature. It's up right now, and just the time I've taken this, about 8 or 9 degrees, so you can push 8 or 9 degrees without much problem in 4 gallons of water. When we get up to 175, I'm going to shut it off and dough in and see what happens. Okay, finally got a stable 153 degrees. We started out at 170, doughed in, and ended up at 168. So the dough didn't make much difference, and I think it's because of the bags, something like that. In any case, 2 large grain bags in there with about 9 pounds of grain in them. And I'll turn this on just a tad so I can paddle around in here without losing too much heat. So the thing to do is spread around the grain in the grain bags. Don't let it all bunch up in a bunch. And I think I got a lot better water flowing through these things now. I'm just afraid we're not going to get anywhere near our target gravity if we don't do that. So you can see one bag there, another bag there, and I have the whole thing inside this almost impossible to lift now basket. Draining it every now and then is not going to hurt anything in terms of yield. So, but I had to manipulate these things to get the grain spread out because it was all sort of bunched up in one end. And in order to manipulate that in 150-degree water, I had to don plastic or rubber gloves, nylon, whatever they are, gloves. So something important to keep in mind. But we're about a third of the way into mash, so we'll see how it goes. See what the yield is at the end. Gotta have the rubber gloves. Alright, so we finished up the 60-minute mash at 153. I threw in about 2 quarts of water with that was boiling to help bring the temperature up, and I really only raised it to about 160. So I've got the burner back on again, trying to get up to 170 so that we can mash out. It'll sit for 10 minutes at 170 once we get there, and it'll be time to mash. I've got time to sparge. I've got the sparging rig. This beer wine fermenter thing has markings. It's you can easily fill it up to the volume you want. I've got helper hose for this very wide outside diameter hose that fits on the sparging rig with a rigid piece of tube to connect it. The HLT up here is connected via this cool butterfly clamp thing. So if there's any leak here, we can fix that immediately. This one's an Otica clamp, so it's good. So I'm going to raise this up. I'm going to leave that hot liquor tank where it is. I'm going to put about 3 gallons of water in it. I'm at 6. I'm going to lose 2 in the between the boil and the grain, so that'll put me at 4 plus, and that's fine. 4 plus is fine. I'm sorry, that'll put me at 8 minus 2, so 6, right? And that's fine. I've got a 7-gallon fermenter down there just in case. But it looks like a pretty healthy wit. I can't wait to see the gravity reading. This is a very safe way to drain the pot. I like this way. This is great. If I had a hose on there and I had a little more control over the splashiness, I'd be even happier about it. But I got a little for boil off here, and the rest of it's pretty much going to be in the sparging container in a minute. Woo! Almost too to do anything with it. Alright, so the sparge is coming. Alright, so brewing efficiency here was not so hot. I got a Brix 8.9, which is about 1.04, 1.036 rather, specific gravity. So, to bump the specific gravity up into the range I'd like it to be for this wit, I threw in a half a pound of very light DME, actually golden DME, not light DME, and incorporated that, and now the thermometer is at a little over 205, and we should be looking at a boil pretty soon. I've got my first edition of Saz hops here in a hop bag, so that the little pellets don't end up all over the place. It's a very fine mesh bag, and those will go in a minute. It might be kind of hard to see, but there actually is a very, very calm and consistent boil going on there. Yeah, I guess you can see it. There's not a rolling boil for sure, and that is a hop stack. The hop stack full of Saz, Czech Saz hops. It seems to want to stay over there. There was a sort of a more gray than I was comfortable with hot break, and I skimmed all that foamy mess off of there. About the time I did that, that's when I started to notice it was boiling. So I think the hot break was sort of masking what was going on. But it's set for 200, and that seems to be taking it up to easily 210 here, or so. 220. The boil is picking up a little bit. I've got the little timer set for 50 because that's when my coriander and bitter orange go in. And then it's a 10-minute run till a 1-minute addition of the last Saz for aroma. And we'll see where this boil takes us. It looks pretty calm now, but I don't really feel right about leaving it alone, certainly because of how full this pot is. It's up over 6 gallons now for sure, so I need to make sure we boil off. Well, I've got a 6-gallon fermenter, but kind of don't want to use it. Kind of want to use a 5. So we'll see. Come on, hops, get in there and get some boiling action going there. Kind of hate to lose the sack because I have to put other things in it. But I guess it doesn't matter. That might work. Whew. Okay, so we're 50 minutes in the boil, and this timer just went off, and it sounds like, let's see if I can make it go again. Now go, brrrr, that's it, and then, just a few minutes that you missed it. It's really, really short, so, man, I don't know why I haven't done color correction on this thing. But anyway, okay, so it's not actually yellow. Everything looks the normal color. So, anyway, 10 minutes left, and it's time for coriander and the other stuff. But this is what it looks like. There's a little protein coagulant on top, which looks all right, and some scummy stuff that, oh well. All right, so boil is over. The last hop addition went in a little late, but I'm sure it'll be there. And I was preparing a carboy nice and hot so I could put the hot wort in it. But I've had this plate chiller around for a while, and I was kind of thinking it'd be nice to try using it, and I really didn't have all those fittings, so I sort of made things work until I got it connected. And there it is, connected to this weird valve with the odd threads on it. I just jammed a piece of tubing in it, connected it to the wrong fitting here with a little help into that fitting, and then outside I just smashed the tube over the compression fitting and sent it over to the carboy, which it is now happily siphoning down. So it looks like it might take about an hour for this part. So anyway, that's how Alright, just to finish out this recipe, I just made a pound of invert sugar, which should put me at somewhere around, I don't know, 25% of total volume in terms of sugar. No, not 25%, more like 5% or 2.5%. somewhere in that area of just plain white table sugar with citric acid. I used orange juice for that, and cooked it until it started to caramelize a tiny bit, and it's all boiled, and I'm going to chill it a little bit and dump it in. When I topped it up to 6, I ended up with a little lower gravity than I thought I would, and this will boost it a little bit.